ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यः ब्रह्मविद्या सम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यः वंशर्षिभ्यः महद्भ्यः नमो गुरुभ्यः। On the page 24, we are discussing the passage 12. I will read that. So yatha saindavakilyah udake prastah udakam eva anuviliyeta nahasya udgrahanaya eva syat yato etastu आददीत लवणम एवं एवं वै अरे इदं महद्भूतम् अनन्तम् अपारं विज्ञानघन एव एतेभ्यो भूतेभ्यः समुत्थाय तानि एव अविनश्यति न प्रेत्य संज्ञा अस्ति इत्यरे ब्रवीमीति होवाच याज्ञवल्क्यः। So yatha, the Drishtanta example is given here. Saindavakhilya udke prastaha. Just as a lump of salt is dropped in water, udakam eva anuviliyata. It dissolves along with the water, dissolves in the water. Although what is meant here is that even the lump of salt also is nothing but the water solidified into a lump. The content or essence of the lump is nothing but water. So water, because of the contact with the soil and the heat, has itself solidified into a lump. Therefore, what we see as a lump of salt is nothing but the water solidified. And what happens is, because that part of water has solidified as lump, it feels now separate from rest of the water. Otherwise, it's part of the ocean. And now this little thing, which now is attained state of lump, feels separate from the ocean water, separate from other lumps, separate, feels individuality, feels duality, feels separateness. So this is how the Upanishad explains what Vedanta calls duality. Duality means the division, mutual exclusion. Although even when this lump of salt has supposedly separated from water, is nothing but water. Water alone has become the lump, and therefore, what is just water? But that water feels a sense of individuality, feels that I am a lump, separate from the ocean. And then that little thing suffers from a sense of separateness from its real nature, which is ocean. It feels separate from other lumps also. And this is how the jivatvam or the sense of individuality is explained by this Upanishad, by this example. How each one of us, for example, feels a sense of individuality, a sense of limitedness. And each one of us feels separate from the others. So Upanishad says this is like a lump of consciousness. Each one individually is lump of consciousness, and there are countless lumps, but basically all of them are nothing but consciousness. But it doesn't look like consciousness when it becomes a lump, just as a salt lump. It doesn't look like water when it is in the status of lump. So also this is consciousness. Now, it is difficult for us to understand that this body, mind, sense complex is nothing but consciousness. But as I said, when you take that lump and split into its components, it turns into nothing but water. So also when you take this lump and split into its components, what is it? If you subdivide and subdivide and subdivide, it will ultimately turn into simple asti existence. Because as you divide this slowly, the name and form become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Subtler and subtler time comes when the name and form disappears from our sight. All that remains is the observer, the existence remains, the consciousness remains, asti, bhati, priyam. So ultimately everything reduces to asti, bhati, priyam. Asti, bhati, priyam can be equated to the ocean of consciousness, and each individual can be equated with a lump of salt. This is lump of consciousness. How Swami, consciousness can have lump? It is. They said if you subdivide this lump, reduce to what? Asti, bhati, priyam. Really? And asti, bhati, priyam means consciousness. See, we equate consciousness with sentiency. That is why there's confusion in our mind. You would think that I am conscious, there is consciousness in me here who is a sentient being. There is no consciousness in this table, is there? Is there consciousness in this table? Yes. How? How? Yes, you are right, but how is it so? Made of wood, all right. You will become very smart, you know. Because consciousness is not feeling, is not sentiency. It is just being and shining. Asti is just being. Bhati is just shining. Priyam is just formless, limitless. In that sense, this also is nothing but consciousness. Too much talking about this may further confuse you, but all there is consciousness. Just as in the example, all there is ocean, and so what there is in the universe is nothing but asti, bhati, priyam, which is what we call consciousness. Each one of us is like a lump of consciousness. Now, here, what makes it lump? Bhashikar explained, ignorance makes it a lump. Then, of course, it is the association of water with soil and light or heat made it a lump. What is this lump? Bhashikar will explain. It is the ignorance that creates a sense of lumpness, smallness. So we were reading this morning on the page 25, again line 14. Yadi idam ekam advaitam. What is this ekam one, advaitam non-dual? Paramartha swacham, absolutely pure in reality. Samsara dukha sampruktam, which is not touched by any dukkha or sorrow of samsara. Like as we said, in case of space, it is all pervasive, is boundless, unconnected to this part, and therefore never bound by the part. Kin nimittoyam kilya bhava atma, then why does atma, the consciousness, feels kilya bhava, a sense of limitedness, like a lump? Jato mrutah sukhi dukhi. Then I was born, I'm going to die. This is a lump. Only a lump can feel I was born, mrutah, I'm going to die. Sukhi, I'm happy. Dukhi, I'm unhappy. Aham, mama, I, mine. This is called samsara. Aneka samsara dharma upadrita. Therefore, he is bothered by, attacked by all these kinds of different pains that this I, this is mine, I was born, I'm going to die. Each idea involves dukkha. The idea of I, individual, also involves dukkha. Because along with the I is always associated a sense of limitedness. When I say I know that I'm different from you and others. And therefore, along with the I is always associated a sense of separateness, limitedness, and therefore unhappiness. No, Swami, I'm never unhappy, I'm always happy. As long as you think that you're limited, you cannot be happy. The moment I feel limited, I feel unhappy. When I forget that sometimes, because of some experience, I just momently forget my individuality. In ecstasy, all of a sudden I won a lottery and I became a multimillionaire overnight, suppose. You may not care for it, but for somebody who cares, he's in ecstasy. When we're in ecstasy, we forget everything, individuality also, and then you know, momentarily you become that boundless. So, there are moments when we do experience that. But otherwise, aneka samsara dukkha dharma upudrita, one who is always limited by the various samsara dharmas like sukhi, dukhi, etc. Bhashyakara's sentences are so long that you begin from here, and by the time you reach the end of the sentence, you forget where you began. He is in his own thing, and so etebhya bhutebhya, this is what the text says. Now, etebhya bhutebhya, this is the fifth case. From this bhuta or from these elements, from these etebhya bhutebhya, from these elements, fifth case. What is this from these elements? It gives a long explanation. Yani, etani, karya, karana, vishayakara, parinatani, nam rupatmakani, salafena, budbuddha, upamani, swachasya, paramasmana. By the time you reach the other end, you forget where you began. येषां विषयपर्यन्तानां प्रज्ञानघने ब्रह्मणि परमार्थविवेकज्ञान प्रविलापन उक्तं नदी समुद्रवत् एतेभ्यः भूतेभ्यः. So from this bhuta, the element from which this upadhi is made, samuthaya. So when you arise from these elements of bhuta, saindava khilyavat, like from the ocean you arise as a lump. So also from the universal elements you arise as an individual entity consisting of this karyakana sanghata. Anyway, just you experience the sense of lumpness because you feel you are separate from the rest. यथा अद्भ्यः सूर्यचन्द्रादि प्रतिबिम्बः यथा वा स्वच्छस्य स्फटिकस्य अलक्तकादि उपादिभ्यः रक्तादिभावः एवं. So Bhashyakara gives here like sun or the moon gets reflected in water. The sun feels, as I said in the morning, the sun looks at the reflection and feels that I have become many because there are many containers of water in which sun gets reflected. So sun looks at all those reflections and says, I've divided into many. I become so small and the water contains impurity, then I look so dull. The water is because of the wind, or the breeze is wavy, therefore the sun feels that I am restless. The sun that is steady feels I am restless. The sun that is bright feels that I am dull. The sun that is, so vast feels that I am limited and many. The sun that is one feels I am many. When the sun looks at the many reflections of water. So the way it is explained is when we look at but when the sun looks at all those reflections, the sun could have a mind, imagine. Then sun would feel that, hey, I become many. I become so small. I'm so limited now, and I'm restless. I'm also impure. Can you imagine? Sun looking at the reflection, feeling like this? No, no. The sun looks at the many reflections. What is it? Oh, I become many. I become small. And if the water is not, has impurity, or I become dirty, I'm become dull. Would it not feel? No. My example has failed. I thought that I'm giving you some new insight. Instead of that, everybody says no. But imagine that we were in the place of sun, that is sun could think. Sun was a live entity, could think and then looked at all these reflections. So I've become many. I got divided into many. Would it not feel that way? No? And then that water has some impurity, therefore the reflection looks dull. So sun thinks I look dull, I look many, I look restless. Because you never heard these examples this way. You heard that you look at the reflections and you wonder. But problem is that the sun says that I'm many, I'm divided, I'm restless, I'm dull. Then it will feel bad because sun is bright and feels I'm dull. Then it's not problem. Sun is one, feels I'm many. Problem. Sun is pure, feels that I'm impure. Problem. All right. Uh, then when you remove the reflecting medium, namely water, Then no more there'll be manyness in the sun, no more there will be impurity in the sun, no more dullness in the sun. And sun comes back to its one, unique, non-dual nature. Because now sun starts looking at itself and recognizes I am one bright, non-dual sun. Because Surya Chandradi Pratibim Bhashyakara says that's why. All right, look at this. Suppose I have a number of mirrors in front of me. Suppose the whole room was fitted with variety of mirrors. Some concave mirrors, some convex mirrors, some different kinds of mirrors. I enter this hall and I look at, wow, there are 1,000 Swamis. And one Swami is like that, because every mirror is concave, convex, and therefore the reflection is distorted. Some shows the Swami like that, some shows Swami like that. Have you ever seen yourself in a concave mirror and a convex mirror? You look like a straight line, or you look like so fat. For that, you have to come to Ahmedabad. We'll take you to what we call Bal Vatika. And there's a room there where different kinds of mirrors are placed, and you know that that's a reflection, that's why you can enjoy it. You look like this in one mirror, look like that in one mirror, and then enjoy that. But suppose a child thinks that this is a real thing. Oh, I become so fat, I become like this, I become so ugly. What should I do with myself? What dieting should I do? If you give reality to the reflection, if you know the reflection is just mithya, it appears, no problem. What is appearance or apparent is taken to be real, and you feel that you really become so fat like that, or become so lean like that, looking at the reflection. That is when there is a problem with me. So this is what has happened to Atma. All different mirrors. There's one mirror, that mirror. In this hall there are 200 mirrors, let us say. Each one reflects differently because mirror has its own characteristic. So reflection has its own characteristic. One appears as many, and so this is how the sense of separateness, individuality, even though there is one Swami in the center, he looks like there are 500 Swamis. Each mirror is different. So one Swami is tall, one Swami is fat, one Swami is this. These are all different from each other. And if I think that's the reality, then I would become miserable right away. And somebody will tell me, Swamiji, that just a reflection is mithya, it is not real. Look at yourself. Don't judge yourself looking at the mirror. Look at yourself. So I'm judging myself, looking at the mirror of this Karyakana Sanghata, of this body, mind, sense complex. I keep on looking and judging myself from there and feel that I'm so limited. No, don't look at the reflection. Look at yourself. So this is how this happens, as Bhashyakara says, by the Shastra Acharya Upadeshena. When the Acharya gives us the Upadesha based on Shastra, that hey, you are not this body, mind, sense complex. This body is your dwelling place. The body is the place of dwelling. The mind, the sense organs, all of these are various instruments given to you to communicate with the world. Just in the office, we may have various computers and internet and all to communicate with the world. So Ishvara has given us this mind, sense organs to communicate with the world. How would it be if a carpenter starts thinking that I'm a chisel? A carpenter says, I'm a chisel, I'm a hammer. They're the tools of carpenter. So these are all tools. You see, the carpenter, when he completes his work in the evening, he gathers all his tools and puts them in a box. Is it not so? A carpenter gathers all his tools and puts it in a box. That's what we do. At night, we gather all our tools, the organs of perception, organs of action, mind, all the tools we gather, put in a box, go to sleep. At that time, there is no tools. That means I don't see, I don't hear, I don't do anything because all the tools are gathered and put in a box. And just as in the morning the carpenter opens his box and then starts working with them, so also in the morning we open our box and organs of perception. So I start seeing, hearing, thinking. When I wake up, everybody is just wondering, what is this Swami talking about? But that's how it is. At night, the mind, the eyes, the ears, the hands, the legs, nothing is functioning. All of them are assembled and placed in a box when I go to sleep. When I wake up in the morning, then again I open my box and start functioning through all of them. This is the example given of Viveka Chudamani, by the way, just as a carpenter collects all his tools in the evening and in the morning again opens his box and starts functioning. We also collect all our instruments or organs at night when you go to sleep, wake up in the morning, you start functioning with them. That means I cannot be, carpenter is not an instrument. These organs of perception are instruments, organs of action are instruments. The mind also is an instrument for me to function. And when I don't want to function, then I just fold them up at night. In the morning, I wake up and I can start using them. I cannot be eyes, I cannot be ears, I cannot be organs of action, I cannot be organs of perception, I cannot be mind, because all of these are various tools called karana or instruments. Is it not so? Then who am I? Eyes are those with which I see. Ears are those with which I hear. Mind is that with which I think. Hands are those with which I work. Legs are those with which I walk. So who is that I who walks through legs, who works with hands, who sees through eyes? Upanishad says, Sayha pravishtaha anakhagrebhyaha. All this equipment is first made ready. Then says, Ishvara comes and enters here. First, the infrastructure is made by Ishvara in terms of the body, mind, sense organs, all infrastructure is done. Then Bhagavan asked this question, what is the use of this without me? There is an Upanishad called Aitareya Upanishad, where the description is given that Ishvara creates all these body, sense organs, mind, all these sense objects, the whole infrastructure is created. What's the use of that without me? What will eyes do unless there is a seer? Eyes don't see for themselves, they see for themselves. Ears don't hear for themselves, they hear for the ear, self. If the self is not there, what will eyes do? What will the ears do? What will hands, legs do? Therefore, to give them meaning, Bhagavan says, I enter. And so the whole thing becomes complete. Meaning that all the infrastructure called the body, sense organs, mind are all tools different from the one who uses them. Meaning the self or Atma is different from all of them. Is it not so? Right now, you are the one who is hearing. Through your organ of hearing, the hearer is different from the organ of hearing. You're looking at me, the seer is different from the organ of seeing. Then you start walking, the walker is different from the organ of walking. Means that you are different from your organs of perception, your organs of action, your mind. All of these are the various tools given to you to perform various functions. Who are you? So Upanishad says that when he enters here, then with eyes he became the seer, with the ears became hearer, with the mind became thinker. Meaning that Atma got identified with this body, mind, sense complex and started assuming all these various complexes. But the one who enters is naturally different from this body, mind, sense complex. So that is what is being said here, that when he arises from this, meaning that when he gives identification with this body, mind, sense complex, then he acquires his real status. Prajnana anantam aparam swacham vivatishtade. As long as I'm identified, it's not that I am in the body, I'm identified with the body. When I'm identified with the eyes, then I become a seer. Identified with the organ of hearing, I become a hearer. When I'm identified with different organs, I have different identities. But what if you're not identified? Like an actor, when identified with his costume, then calls him a beggar. Another costume, he calls him a king. A third costume, he calls him a minister. So one person is minister now, a king later, a beggar later, then he becomes a saint, becomes a sadhu, becomes whatever. So one who takes different roles has to be different from the roles, is it not so? So who are you? Are you hearer? You're hearing me right now. Are you hearer? Are you speaker? Am I speaker? A speaker keeps on speaking. Speaker does not hear. The speaker can only speak. Really? Yeah? The only thing that a speaker does is speak. Only thing that a speaker, a hearer does is hear, but I am now speaking, then hearing, then walking, then talking. That means that I must be different from all of them. I assume variety of roles. Now a speaker later on, then when you talk to me, I become a listener. Then when I walk along, I become a walker. I become talker. I'll take different roles. Let the crystal now appears red and appears green and appears all different colors. That means that the crystal must be different from all these colors. And so now I'm a speaker, then I'll be a hearer. That means that I must be different from all these roles. Is it not so? So who is that who is assuming all these different roles? Must be common to all the roles. One actor now becomes a king, then becomes a beggar, then becomes a minister. He is the one who is common to all of them. And so now I'm a speaker, then I become a hearer, then I become a thinker, then I become a walker, then I become a talker. That means I must be one that is common to all those roles. Is it not so? So what is common? To hearer, thinker, speaker, walker, talker. I am thinker, I am walker, I am talker, I am listener, I am eater, I am drinker. What is common? I am. So rest belongs to the role. What belongs to it? The actor is I am. Actor is common to all the roles. So this is how Yajnavalkya says that, hey Maitreyi, recognize That you are simple I am, which is prajnana gana, which is nothing but mass of consciousness, which has no limit. I am has no form, has no boundary, has no anantam, aparam, vijnana gana. I am has no boundary, the I am has no form, I am has no shape, because goes with all forms, goes with all shapes, goes with all the roles. Therefore, when you depart from this, what is meant by departing is that, hey Maitreyi, when you give up identification, right now you're identifying, therefore calling yourself as Maitreyi, calling yourself as mother, calling yourself as wife, calling yourself as daughter. But that is because of identification, upadi. When you don't do that, then who are you? Just I am. Prajnana ghanam, anantam, aparam. Nothing but a mass of consciousness without boundary, without limitations. All boundaries are in the roles, all limitations are in the roles or in the instruments, but not in the one playing the role. Therefore, if you give up this identification with this body, then who are you? If I recognize that, hey, eyes are my instrument of seeing, ears are instrument of hearing, legs are instruments of walking, thus if I don't identify with them, then what do I remain? I am, I am, I am. What is the size of I am? What is the shape of I am? Does I am have a shape, a size, has length, breadth, dimension? Anantam, aparam, without end, without boundaries, without, I am common to everything, all pervasive. So this is what Yajnavalkya says to Maitreyi. Hey, you feel a sense of limitedness because you're identified with this. That's why you become a lump. What you are is the ocean of consciousness, identified with this. Like water identifying with the soil and heat becomes a lump, so also the consciousness identified with this body mind becomes as a lump like a jiva and so feels so limited and miserable. What you are is recognize that this, as I said, body is just a place of dwelling. The organs of perception are just instruments for you to gain experiences. Organs of actions are just the tools for you to respond to the world. The mind is again a tool for you to think and learn. You are not your tools, you are not your computer, you are not your telephones. Who are you? Anantam prajnanaganam, anantam aparam. In Maitri, when you recognize your true nature, na pretya sanyasi, then there is no more sanya or name. Right now you are called Maitreyi, but then there is no name. Does Atma have a name? What is sanya means a name. I have a name as long as I'm identified with this body. I call myself a Swami. But if I recognize that the body, I am the witness of this body, I am not I am the indweller of the body, not the body, then I don't get myself identified or I don't get myself recognized by this body. Who am I? I'm just a simple consciousness. Anantam, aparam, prajnana ghanam. Hey Maitri, when you recognize that, then you will have no consciousness. Meaning that you will have no particular consciousness. I am Maitri, that will go away. I am Swami, that will go away. I am so and so, that will go away because so and so belongs because of the identification here. When there is not that I am so and so, that individuality goes away, the lumpness goes away. What remains is Anantam, Aparam, Prajnana Ganam. Prajnanam Ghanam means a mass of consciousness. Anantam means without the end, aparam without the boundary. There is no more Maitreyi. No pretya sanya asti. Once you depart from here, there is no sanya, there is no identification, there is no individual awareness. Aham, asau. See line number 9 on page 26. Nasti vishe sanyayati. Aham asau. Amushya putraha. Mama idam kshetram. I am so and so. Aham asau. Amushya putra. I am certain. I am the son of so and so. Mama idam kshetram. This is my field. Mama idam dhanam. This is my wealth. Sukhi, I am happy. Dukhi, unhappy. All of this is called the sanya or the individual consciousness I have. You will no more have that because Sukhi is the notion arises because of identity with the mind. Mind is Sukhi. I call myself Sukhi. Mind is Dukhi. I call myself Dukhi. Mind is the son of, the body is son of so and so. I am son of so and so. The body is father of so and so. I am father of so and so. All Sukhi, Dukhi, son, daughter, all of these belong to this Karikana Sanghata. And right now I identify myself that way, but when I realize that I'm different from all of them, then all these particular identities go away. I'm Asau, I'm so and so, Amushya Putraha, the son of so and so, this is my house. So that I want to retain. You become wise, then you don't have a house, you know. The wise person will not say, this is my house. That means, Swami, a wise person can walk into any house. It is not my shoes, so he can wear any shoes. That's not the point. He wears the shoes all right, but he has no notion that is my shoes. But for Vyavahara, he wears only a particular pair of shoes, thank God. Not that because he has no identification, he wears any shoes, he enters any home. No, for Vyavahara, he retains that kind of identity. Meaning that, like before, he continues to function in a systematic manner as by the rules of the Vyavahara. But no more feels bound by them because now he doesn't have any specific identification of being so and so. Therefore, Brahmavidah, Chaitanya Swavastit, one, the knower of Brahman, who abides in essential nature as consciousness, the Vishesha Sanya, that I am so and so, no more remains, that a wise person no more, he may say I am Swami so and so, but no more he feels that I am so and so. You follow? Feeling is one thing and saying is another, because for Vyavahara you have to say things. So Ramana Maharshi would say, this one went, you know. He would not say, I went. Ramana Maharshi, he would not say, I went. Because then the body becomes I. He says, this went. Creating distance, I'm not this. This went and this came. That's how he wrote a little note. When he left home, went to Arunachalam, then he wrote a note that this one is leaving. What this one? Don't make any effort now to search for this one. That means that this became this, not I. The identification called made this body I. Recognition that I am consciousness became this. Although a wise person doesn't this came and this went, he will say I came, I went. But knowing within himself or herself that I'm consciousness. So this is the state of a wise person. Brahmavida Chaitanya Swavastitasya. So he doesn't identify himself as so and so in his own mind. For the Vyavahara, he may identify, but then from his own understanding of himself, that individuality is no more there. Na Vishesha Sanya Asti. Sanya means that specific identification is no more there. Iti Havacha Yajnavalkya Maitreyi to his wife Maitreyi. This is what Yajnavalkya said, hey Maitreyi, once you know this, then you know particular identification, no particular identity. There's no more Maitreyi. So what? There's no more Maitreyi? Once you know your true nature, there's no more Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya says. That scared her. You see, I'll disappear. I'll be not there at all. And that's where the next passage, we'll just read there, see, on the page 28. Sahovacha Maitreyi Atraivama Bhagavan Amuhan Na Pretya Sanya Asti Iti Sahovacha Nama Are Aham Moham Bravimi Alam Va Are Yidam Vijnanaya. Hey Maitreyi, once you come to know your true self, there will no more Maitreyi. Maitreyi says, what? Sahovacha Maitreyi, Attayama Bhagavan, Amamuhan, just here you have thrown me into confusion, sir, when you say there will be no more Maitreyi. Maitreyi, when you come to know yourself, there will be no more Maitreyi. But you are totally throwing me into confusion, saying that there will be no more Maitreyi. Yajnavalkya said, no, I'm not confusing you. In fact, I'm telling you what the truth is. I'm not here to confuse you. I'm here to give you the true knowledge of yourself. And what I have said is quite adequate to know yourself. So, this is how the dialogue goes on because still Maitreyi looks upon herself as Maitreyi and wants to retain the sense of Maitreyi. And therefore, this confusion arises. We'll talk about it tomorrow in the next class. I'm afraid that you are also confused, but hopefully Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ.